We've got the MXR Polyblue Octave on the bench today. I've been very excited to try this one for a while now, and I'm looking forward to making some absolutely disgusting and some quite pretty sounds out of this. It gives you two core options on here. You've got polyphonic pitch shifting in here with the ability to blend in an octave down, 2 octaves down, an octave up, or 2 octaves up. There's built-in modulation and fuzz, and there's also a monophonic mode that gives you control over those same 4 different octave intervals on there. The modulation on the polyphonic mode is like a Leslie style sound on there, so perfect if you want to use the poly mode to create organ style sounds. The monophonic mode gives you a phase 90 style sound for the modulation, so great for those funky 70s guitar synth style textures. I am just going to plug into this and see how it inspires me to play. Let's go. The expression control is pretty easy to set up on here as well. I'm using the Fractal EV1. I've got a TRS cable plugged into the expression, so I'm in the heel down position at the moment. I'm gonna go mono mode on here. I'm gonna crank up my dry signal and some of the sub octave on there. We're gonna take all the other controls on there, or maybe except the modulation. We'll take the others, except the mod to 0, and the mod I'll have it about 9 o'clock. Then when I go toe down on here, I want to be in poly mode. I want some octave up. I still want some octave down and some sub octave, some 2 octave up, and maybe no modulation on there. Now, as I sweep the expression pedal, it's just going to take me between those different modes. I'm going to stay on that big greasy lead sound on there so that we can switch essentially between poly mode and mono mode on here. When I first got my hands on this, I just expected it to be the MXR version of the Electro Harmonix POG, but it goes in its own direction. While it has the same octave matrix, I'm going to call it an octave matrix. There you go, a term I just invented right now, with an octave down, 2 octaves down, and an octave up and 2 octaves up. It goes in its own direction, the monophonic and polyphonic modes being the big departure on there. I love that it can do some POG-style organ sounds on there in the poly mode, but in the mono mode, it's way more like an old-school guitar synth or funky octaver, having the built-in fuzz and having the built-in modulation on there is awesome. While the POG gives you resonant low-pass filtering and control over the initial attack, this gives you the fuzz, it gives you the mono mode, it gives you that beautiful phase 90 sound on there. And I love the addition of the Leslie tone in the poly mode. It's like they knew that people wanted a polyphonic octaver to recreate organ sounds. So what sounds great on an organ? A rotary speaker sound. I think it's such a well thought out feature set, and being able to toggle between the different settings on there with an expression pedal. I like it going from mono mode to poly mode, basically, like maybe even having mono mode with the fuzz on and then poly mode with the fuzz off, and a different octave blend in the octave matrix. Again, there's that term. If I ever get a signature octave pedal, it'll be called the octave matrix. But yeah, this is not a POG, but it's awesome. It definitely belongs in the conversation when it comes to just things that add character. You know, I've got an old blue box and it's really fun like that one sound that it does. And this can kind of do that, and it can kind of do some POG stuff, but it makes me want to do different things. So I think if you're an Octave junkie like I am and you haven't tried this, you definitely need to go and check it out. And I'm going to be using this a whole bunch more. In fact, it might go onto my studio pedal board alongside the POG. I think they kind of belong together. The Way Huge Atreides is another one that I love for just absolute sonic destruction as well. This feels slightly more reined in. I think like a lot of the MXR creations these days, I really like what they're doing because most of the sounds are really usable. The Way Huge stuff, some of the sounds are just so wacky that I would probably never use them, but I love that they can go there. They're slightly more unhinged, whereas the MXR stuff like just sits in that perfect category where you plug it in and you go, that's a pretty cool sound. It's plug and play, in other words. I'll put an affiliate link to this one in the video description if you want to support my channel directly. A massive thank you to the legendary George and the team at MXR for sending this one out to me to make some noises. And I'm going to leave you all with some more noises. I'm going to use that expression trick to now go between mono mode with the fuzz and then poly mode without the fuzz. Enjoy the rest of your day.